Hey, buddy, watch this.
Hello, the name is Regis Kilbin, and the game is Hearthstone, and welcome to Invalid Deck Challenge number 4. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with my Invalid Deck Challenges just yet, but real quickly, anytime you try to create a deck in Hearthstone, but don't put any cards in the list and you hit done, you'll be given this prompt which says, Invalid Deck, you're 30 cards short of a full deck. Do you want to finish it automatically? Now, sane people would hit no and build a good list, but crazy people like me hit yes, and they're given 30 random cards that the Hearthstone gods generate on their behalf, and suddenly that is your deck, and in this case that is Invalid Deck number 4. And the challenge part of this is taking this deck, swapping out 3 terrible cards, the worst cards, replacing them with 3 cards of your choice, and then finally winning at least one game out of 3 attempts. So it's very difficult to do with a deck that is not well designed, but it does help you learn a little bit about deck building, how to think about cards that you might not be used to seeing, and really just how to get better at the game. So that's why we embark on the Invalid Deck Challenge, and this is Invalid Deck number 4. Let's save that. It's our Paladin deck. You saw it created before your very eyes, and let's take a look at this list and see what kind of synergies we have, what cards might be good, the 3 worst cards certainly, and discuss some replacements that might make this deck a little bit better. So first off, I want to look at the curve of this deck. That tells us a lot about what kind of deck it is. And really it's a pretty smooth curve, as it tends to be with invalid decks. I think the Hearthstone gods try to generate you a deck that has a nice balance as far as mana cost is concerned. And we can see that in action here. We're a little light on 3 drops perhaps, but that's really the best place to be light. You'd rather have 2 and 4 drops, so that's just fine. We do have some late game cards, but not a ton, and we actually have a lot of 1 drops. So that makes it feel like this is probably a little bit more of a mid-range deck than anything else. But let's take a look at our late game cards and see what kind of quality they are. So Lay on Hands is good. That's a nice refill card that gives us some value in the late game. Baron is a good control card, but it's not particularly great with Paladin just because we have so many little Silverhand recruits running around that he might kill. Sylvanas, of course, is fantastic. Lord of the Arena, not too good, but we can work with it. Oh, very interesting. 5-drop combo here. Harrison Jones and Blingtron. So you can play Blingtron and then instantly destroy your opponent's weapon with Harrison Jones. So that might be a pretty fun combo. When it comes to early game cards, 2 very bad secrets with Sacred Trial. So we might actually axe both of those. Cogmaster, we actually do have at least 1 mech with Shielded Minibot. But it looks like that's... Oh, Blingtron, of course, is a mech as well. So that's probably not too bad. We'll keep that one. Some just random 2-drop minions. 2 Seal of Lights, which isn't great, but it's not the worst card ever. Alright, so it looks like we've got some decent stuff in this list. I real quickly just want to run through each card in a little bit more detail. So Humility is mostly a control card. And it's a low-cost one, so you have to get a lot of value out of it to make this worth it. But we'll probably keep it just because we can't neutralize a big threat. Sacred Trial is terrible. It's very hard to make it work, and even when it does work, you can't predict what it's going to destroy. It's really only good against Dr. Boom, but it's just so inefficient, and it takes forever to get value that it's not a good early drop. Cogmaster, we mentioned, we have some mechs. It can be good, especially with a turn 2 mini-bot. Sir Finley is fine. Gives us some flexibility and stuff to work with. We actually also have another Murloc I saw, so who knows what kind of Murloc synergies Murloc Knight might spawn on our behalf and benefit with Sir Finley. Seal Light is okay. It's health gain, which is fine, and can be used as like a ping to kill off some early game minions or something that's just lingering in the late game. Argent Protector can generate lots of value, so I'm okay with that. It's not a good 2-drop, but it's good everywhere else. Huge Toad is fine, just a solid minion. Ironbeak Owl's good to have a silence, so I'm happy we have that. Shielded Minibot, just a fantastic 2-drop, best 2-drop in the game, really good to have. Seal of Champions does allow us to trade up pretty well with some otherwise weak cards, perhaps like Scarlet Purifier. So that might be really nice. Like Evil Heckler too, it could make it really good. Just do a lot of damage or make a big trade into Dr. Boom. Also just gives us some potential for burst damage, which never hurts. Ogre Brute, not too great, but it's a body. And hopefully the downside 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy won't impact us too much as we're trying to build a board. As long as it trades or kills something, I think that's okay. Scarlet Purifier actually is an underrated card, I guess. A 4/3 for 3 is a decent-sized body. And the Battlecry might work well against the right kind of deck. Death Rattle minions, of course, are somewhat prominent and prevalent, so we might see some value out of this. I don't mind having that as a 3-drop. Warhorse Trainer. Not the best card ever, but it can be good. It's better when you have something like Muster for Battle, where you're going to guaranteed get some more minions out, and we don't have a Muster for Battle, so it might be hard to make this work well, but even if it just buffs one Silverhand Recruit as a 2/4 for 3, that's not too bad. True Silver Champion, of course, fantastic weapon, really good value, we're happy about that. Blessing of Kings, great buff, works so well with something like Shield of Minibot, so that's going to be good. Hammer of Wrath, not the best card, but does provide us with some card draw, which we'll need. It doesn't look like we've had any card draw thus far. And as far as the late game is concerned, Holy Wrath is card draw, Harrison Jones is card draw, Land Hands is card draw. So we actually do have some, but even if it's just deal 3 damage, it's fine, and the extra card never hurts. Crowd Favorite. Whenever you play a card with Battle Cry, gain +1/+1. As a 4-mana 4/4, it's not the most exciting card ever. Do we have some Battle Cries? Here's a Battle Cry. Here's a Battle Cry. Here's a Battle Cry. Here's a Battle Cry. We actually have a lot of Battle Cries. Battle Cry, Battle Cry, Battle Cry. So, actually, Crowd Favorite could be very good. Might end up being like a 6/6 or something a turn or two later. Evil Heckler, it's fine, just a nice value taunt. It doesn't hurt to have a taunt, so might trade up into something like Thorason. Murloc Knight's a great mid-game value card. On turn 6, this can just generate a nice board or help you recover, or occasionally do some crazy stuff like spawn multiple Murloc Knights, so I like this card. Refreshment Vendor is another heal. We have Lay on Hands, Refreshment Vendor, Seal of Light, so we do have some ways to survive into the late game and draw resources. So the more I look at this deck, the more I think it's skewing towards mid-range to control, especially if we get rid of a few of these bad 1-drops like Sacred Trial. We can flesh out the later curve and make this a pretty heavy-hitting deck, actually. I think it's going to be okay. Holy Wrath, pretty unreliable spell and pretty bad in general. It's just hard to predict, especially when we have like 1-drops like Humility. But it's card draw at its very worst and occasionally might hit for something really big. Blingtron and Harrison are both average cards, tech cards certainly, with Harrison, and Blingtron is kind of just a gimmick card, but together they're pretty neat. I think it's pretty cool that the generator stuck those together, probably accidentally, but that's some neat turn 10 synergy that might be fantastic, and we might just use Blingtron otherwise as a body or as a mech. So Harrison as well, we may not always get value, but if we're playing against a non-weapon class, we might save these two to actually use together. Silverhand Knight is just another card that helps us build a board. It's nothing exciting, but it's fine. Lord of the Arena is just an upgraded Evil Heckler, but a little worse. But again, just a taunt and a body, so that's okay. Sylvanas, fantastic legendary, great answer. Baron Geddon could be good to clean up some messy boards, but doesn't synergize with Paladin. And then finally, Lay on Hands just gives us answers. Card draw is good because our cards on average are going to be lower value than our opponents just because we have random stuff. So I don't mind seeing this at all. So we have to take out 3 cards and put in 3 new ones. So I'm definitely getting rid of both Sacred Trials. Those are just miserable cards. And then we look at our curve, and it's still looking pretty good. Maybe a little light at 3, but not too bad. I think I want to flesh out turn 5 with 1 card and add a couple late game bombs like Dr. Boom. So I think Holy Wrath is actually probably the next weakest card in this list just because it's so unpredictable and expensive. So I want to add 5 drops, but I'm still going to get rid of this one just because it's bad and slot in a better 5-drop. So let's look at our 5 drops And what can we stick in that makes sense? Here's some card draw, but we have enough, I think. Cobalt Guardian, pretty bad card. It is a mech, but we don't have enough mechs to guarantee that. Quartermaster is much better when you have Muster for Battle as a way to generate more Silverhand recruits. We just don't have enough to get out, so that's not very good. Dragon Consort, we don't have any Dragon synergy, so that's a scratch. Tuskar Jouster actually might make a little bit of sense since we're trying to stay alive into the late game and generate value off this combo and some legendary. So that's a thought, but let's also look at neutral cards. Azure Drake is always a good card to fill in. We don't really have a lot of ways to benefit from spell power. We have Hammer of Wrath, and I guess that's it at this point. So that the spell damage probably won't help too much, but just as a 5-drop, it's so good. Just looking at more 5-drops here, none of these look particularly appealing. Booty Bay Bodyguard, of course, is just worse than Evil Heckler. Fell Reaver doesn't make any sense in this deck. We want cards and resources. None of these look especially good. There are a couple options here. Lotheb is always a great card to have. It answers spell so well in any decks that are reliant on spells like Freeze Mage or even Tempo Mage or Rogue. That could be fantastic. We don't need a finisher with Leroy. Nexus Champion Sarad's a great way to generate late game value, but we already have a couple cards that do that, like Murloc Knight. So I'm not too excited about that one. But I think Sledge Belcher is always hard to pass up. The thing is, we already have 2 taunts with Lord of the Arena and Evil Heckler. So I don't even think that we need a Sludge Belcher. I think Lotheb was the most exciting 5-drop and just gives us a nice solid body to rely on. So now we also need a couple like mid to late game cards, turn 5, turn 6, turn 7, or later. Thorison is usually a go-to turn 6 card, and it can help us do stuff like get our Blingtron Harrison out sooner, do more with a Murloc Knight turn, make Lay on Hands a little cheaper so we can play a card with it. There are certainly some advantages, plus the cheaper all these bad cards are, the better they're going to be because we can play more of them at once. So that makes a little bit of sense, but I'm not sure it impacts the board directly enough. We need like big swingy stuff because the deck's not good, so we kind of have to win and like surprise or do something interesting or cool or unique. And I'm not sure that Thorison helps us accomplish that. Reno Jackson almost works. I think we only have 1 duplicate left in the deck, so he's an interesting thought, but we have so much heal that I don't think we need him. A card like Toshli kind of makes some sense too, just generates some more stuff for us to do, but we don't have a lot of spell synergy, so I don't even like that much. One card I'm definitely going to add in for sure is Dr. Boom. He's so far just been in every Invalid Deck challenge, I think, almost. He's just too good to pass up. He's the perfect turn 7. He does so many things well that you just have to add him in. So we could maybe pass another turn 6 card and look for something even later game, like just a Steeds or a high value card like Ysera. With the Lay on Hands, we will have time to probably set something like this up, like a Ysera. But an 8 mana card's a lot better than a 2 mana card, or than a 9 mana card, excuse me, because you have 2 mana left over to work with, and Hero Power on Paladin's usually pretty good to be able to get the 1/1s out. So I think I'm going to skew away from Ysera and more towards 8 or less mana. I guess the real option is probably just Tyrion. It's like the best card in the game. And we would like an 8-drop that's good. And this one is just, it's hard to pass up. So I think Tyrion, Dr. Boom are our answers, and Lotheb. So we just added 3 really good legendaries to make this into kind of a mid-range control Paladin deck. So there you have it. That's Invalid deck number 4. If you want to take this one on as a challenge, I'm going to give you a second to screenshot the list. Here is the first half down to Harrison Jones. And here is the rest from Lotheb down to Tyrion. I don't know if we're going to win a game yet, but you can try as well. So that's our list. Now let's go ahead and take this out onto the ranked ladder. It's still relatively early in the season, so rank 14 is gonna be fun. It's gonna have some competitive decks and some interesting stuff to see. We won't be beating any top 500 legend players like in previous Invalid challenges, but we should still have some fun with this deck. Okay, so we have a mage. We don't know what kind of mage it is yet. Could be freeze, tempo, who knows. Iron Begal is a 2-drop, so it's good to have, but we probably want that later. We don't know that we'll need a silence now, so if we can get something a little more reliable and that has a stronger body, I think we'll be better off. These are both fine. We can play Huge Toad, and Argent Protector might get us a good early game trade that gets us up on the board. Lord of the Arena is awfully slow, but that's okay to have a late game option. It's nice to have a 4-drop, but Murloc Knight's really more like a 6-drop because you want to inspire with it immediately. Otherwise it risks dying and you lose most of the value it can generate. So this is definitely Tempo Mage, and the Huge Toad is a fine play here. He might Frostbolt it, or Arcane Blast it, or Flame Cannon it, and we won't have a way to kill this. But if he doesn't have those answers, we can actually trade with Argent Protector and kill it for free. And we might also trigger this Mirror Entity with Argent Protector, which would be just fine in our book. So it could be Effigy, could be, it's probably Counterspell, which is okay. We don't really have any high value spells except Play on Hands. I'm just... Well, I guess he was not interested in playing that one out. So it looks like we got off to a really good early game start. We actually had a smooth curve as well, and despite playing on the ranked ladder, we had a very quick concede. So I guess technically, Invalid deck number 4 is a success. But I feel like I'm ripping you off if I don't play at least a full game. So we're going to mark this up as a win, because I do think the writing was on the wall. He saw that we had such a good start that he was never going to recover, even though our cards might have looked a little weird. I guess based on his hand, we had a more consistent open, and that's a win. So, success. But let's play a full game just to see the deck in action. Otherwise, this video is not going to be very much fun. Is it the same guy? No. Okay. So another mage. Probably another Tempo Mage if I had to guess, but we'll see. Okay, so these cards are not particularly exciting. A 4-drop is probably not too bad with the coin, since we also have the 2-mana Seal of Light. Seal of Light's not going to be great against a mage because he probably has the Mana Worm. It's okay against a Sorcerer's Apprentice, so I'm going to keep it. But I doubt we're going to get value out of it right away. Humility's not very good either. Most mage stuff already has low value attacks. But Ogre Brute's fine. Could kill a Flame Waker. We'd be pretty happy about that. We actually have a choice here to coin out the mini-bot, and I think I'm going to, because even if he plays something with 4 health, we could kill it with the mini-bot into the Seal of Light. If we don't coin it out, we won't have that option, because the mini-bot won't be able to attack next turn, even though we... and we won't have the mana to do it either, so this gives us the initiative that gives us flexibility. It's probably going to ping, if I had to guess. He won't want to send out like a Sorcerer's Apprentice to die. He didn't have the Mana Worm because he didn't play it on turn 1. If he's in the Mana Worm now, he might play it just to eat the shield, but we'll kill it. Okay, it's Mech Mage. Interesting. That's fine too. We have a way to deal with this. So with Mech Mage, really, the goal is to keep mechs off the board. The more they have mechs on the board, the more they can do. Like if we'd left the mech up, he could Tinkertown, get the buff and the spare part. But now if he Tinkertown Technicians, he's just got a 3/3, which isn't too exciting. So as much as we can, we're going to try to keep mechs off. Ogre Brute's going to be good. Evil Heckler's going to be good. Lothab's going to be good. So we have a turn 3, turn 4, turn 5. I doubt we'll stray from that for Humility, unless perhaps he plays like a naked Goblin Blast Mage. which is just a 5/4. In that instance, we might. So I lied. We're gonna sway from that. Since we do have the second Seal of Light, we're gonna go ahead and take off this Mech Warper, just in case he has like Piloted Shredder and another 2-drop. This might save us 1 minion, but that still leaves up the Snow Chugger. But I think the Evil Heckler will trade fine into the Snow Chugger next turn. Plus, we could Humility if we have to. It's just Mech Warpers are so scary that generally they're worth dealing with. If he plays the Goblin Blast Mage, I might Humility Ogre Brute. But if he plays like a Shredder or an Arcane Ant, we're definitely going to play the body here. Does he have a 1-drop? Mana Worm, okay. That's not too bad. This should still trade pretty well into both of these. I doubt he can activate the Mana Worm to kill this on its own, but he might Frostbolt Ping, which would give him a pretty big body. A pretty big board, I mean.
Something needs tinkering?
So he does have 1 spare part to activate here. If he gets the damage spell part, it's still not enough. Frostbolt trade. I can live with that. Probably just play Loatheb here. I could, you know, Ogre Brute, Humility or something, but he might have to ping trade, which is not ideal, but hopefully he doesn't have a lot in hand. It's mostly spells. We know it's at least 1 spare part. If it's like 2 fireballs or something, he could have a really bad turn here and just be stuck with a Snow Chugger. Alright, well that's actually not too bad. It seems like he didn't have a good turn at the very least. If I Lord of the Arena, it's probably going to get Fireballed because I'm willing to bet one of those cards is Fireball. If I Murloc Knight, he might also Fireball, and it will waste it. Of course, these two can trade into the Murloc Knight, but it kills both. Plus, I'll have 2 other minions on board, so I'm just going to go ahead and start turning this guy on and forcing him to react to it. That's a bad one. We would have liked almost anything else. This is never going to get buffed. He's going to kill this for sure. So we have a turn 7 here with a 5 hero power. Turn 8 here with a 6 hero power. He's thinking about pinging, but I don't know. Interesting. Unsable portal. Hopefully that's a whiff. Hopefully he gets a wisp. That's the fireball. Yep. So that's actually fine. That's dandy. These both trade into the clockwork okay. Yet another pretty slow turn. So he's given us time. Ooh. I don't think I can use that just yet because it'll freeze the minion if I do. I think we just play on curve. We don't make the trade here because it doesn't do anything. We just go face. We have 4 minions. It's likely one of them is going to survive for this blessing to take hold. Hopefully we can also kill this without using the Blessing of Kings on it. We can also play these with the blessing, so that would be okay. He's probably got like a Dr. Boom. We're going to have the Humility. In Antonitis, we might also have the Humility, but I'd rather just kill it, of course. That's okay. It's gonna go. Oh, he traded. Oh, this is perfect for us. Okay. We may not even use the blessing yet. We might just continue to. Oh, or we do this and trade. Could make this a 7/4. Yeah, I think I do. I don't really care about it being a 7/4, but I do care about it being alive. Then we'll do this. Because he might have to fireball it again, and if he's using 1 frostbolt and 2 fireballs, he's out of reach, so he can't kill us as easily. I need my lay on hands or something soon, though, too. If he doesn't have an answer for this, of course, it's a huge minion, so that's also nice. We're a little worried about Antonitis spare part. But he used 1 spare part already on the Drake. So Frostbolt Ping, it's okay, it's 4 mana for basically about 7 mana worth of investment. Is that the boom?
What to do? What to do?
Empty Blast Mage, okay. +1 health. Well, that's such an interesting choice, because what if I have a way to keep this alive now? I have some options, right? I can probably just humility that. I could draw off of it first, but it doesn't really kill it or accomplish anything. I think I'm probably just going to humility arena hero power. I wanted to save the humility for a Dr. Boom, but I think he would have played the Dr. Boom if he had it, like unless he draws it here on this top card. This is still very difficult for him to deal with. He's going to have to ping this off, so that's at least 2 mana. I could have blessinged this to keep it alive, but I was afraid it might just die again. Who knows what to. Like that, for instance. Flame Strike and Mech Mage. That's a little unusual, gotta be honest. We don't have the Harrison just yet, but why not? Let's do it. You gotta live once. Alright, we won. Cool. That's a good... It's a really good, actually, Deathspite is. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just kill this off. Even though it's not a mech.
For justice.
Just in case I need the death rattle here. Sir Finley dies to his weapon, but we don't really care. I want a good hero power. We're gonna take life tap. We have lay on hands, we have some heals. So, we don't have cards though. So, life tap gives us cards. It's the best hero power in general. We gave him 6 damage, which is a little scary, but we might get a nice blessing off. Even if he played a boom, we could just trade right now. Oh, polymorphed our Blingtron. Wow, this mech mage is like all answers and no mechs. Ah! What? Why did that take so long? Shoot, if I life tap, I go to 11. It's like he has 11, but I'll kill this at least. So that's actually pretty good. I guess I attack first. I don't really care if Sylvanas takes the damage or not. I also don't really want to shield her. It doesn't help me any. Because I want her to die, so I could have played this first, I guess, just to get the body out, but I might need it with Blessing of Kings, so I think I made the right choice. He's gotta be... I'm probably dead here, it looks like. No, I'm not dead. This is gonna be a pretty interesting play. This is gonna be a pretty interesting play. So look, he did a smart play. He did this so if I trade, it dies, right? And I'm at 2 health and I'm in trouble. But I can actually Blessing the Doom Guard.
Let none survive.
And steal it as a 9/4 and instantly attack and give it shield. So now I just have to survive and I have lethal on board. That's not an interaction you see every day on Paladin versus Mage. Oh, I hope he doesn't unstable portal into lethal here. That would really make me salty. He has 1 damage, we know. Oh, wow. Blessing of Kings on the mages, on the enemy mage's Doom Guard. To steal it with our Sylvanas for an instant 9 damage to face. This sets up a 2-turn lethal. And that's Invalid Deck Challenge number 4 for you folks. And it was not only successful on the gimmick, free win, but also on a very real win against a little unusual Meg Mage. So, what a crazy deck. We didn't even have to play Dr. Boom to win. A lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed the Invalid Deck Challenge number 4. I encourage you to try this deck out as well. Or, of course, always just make your own. That's also tons of fun. If you have any questions about this challenge or this deck in particular, just let me know. I'm happy to answer. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, game on.